The bulk carrier Calm Sea was fixed to load a mixed cargo of steel coils and flexible intermediate bulk containers, also known as jumbo bags, in a Chinese port. Once berthed, she commenced loading. In hold number 3, she first loaded cold rolled steel coils. Having loaded the coils 3 tiers high, the next cargo of jumbo bags was to be loaded on top of the coils. The shippers constructed a wooden lattice structure in an attempt to support the weight of the jumbo bags. As will be seen later, this was not a successful exercise. The jumbo bags, which contained 10 different chemicals, were then loaded onto the steel coils. Cargo was loaded in all holds, but in particular we pay attention to hold number 2, in which jumbo bags were loaded containing 2 different chemicals. The bottom layers of jumbo bags contained sodium carboxymethyl cellulose, separated by a poorly fitting tarpaulin from the upper layers of jumbo bags, which contained magnesium nitrate hexahydrate. It should be noted that the ship's interests obtained no information about the various chemicals to be loaded on board beyond the MSDS material safety data sheets that were provided by the shippers. Having completed loading, the Calm Sea sailed. She crossed the Pacific Ocean bound for 2 port calls in South America. The voyage was uneventful, with moderate sea conditions which improved throughout the voyage. The Calm Sea berthed immediately upon arrival at her first discharge port. The first cargo to be discharged was the jumbo bags from hold number 3. The wooden structure that was constructed to support the weight of the bags had broken down in various places. More generally, the structure has caused a large number of the jumbo bags to split. As the bags were discharged, the steel cargo underneath became dusted with the various chemicals that were in the hold. The steel coils were not for discharge at this port and would be carried on to the next discharge port. Having discharged the jumbo bags from hold number 3 and cargo from various other holds, the Calm Sea sailed once again. Bound for another South American port, she made a short and uneventful voyage. Her second discharge port call of the voyage was a short one. Her only cargo to be landed ashore was the steel coils from hold number 3. The steel coils from hold number 3 were landed ashore, and it became apparent that the cargo was excessively corroded. The mixture of chemicals which had dusted the cargo during the discharge of the jumbo bags had contained within them many chemicals, 1 or more chemicals with corrosive properties. Furthermore, cargo experts opined that a degree of moisture had played a role in the damage to the cargo, creating a corrosive coating. The Calm Sea departed soon after discharge was complete and made a short coastal voyage to her final and third discharge port for the voyage. Amongst the cargoes to be discharged at the final port were the 2 segregated jumbo bag chemical cargoes of sodium carboxymethyl cellulose and magnesium nitrate hexahydrate from hold number 2. The upper layer of magnesium nitrate hexahydrate was the first to be discharged, however, due in part to poorly constructed jumbo bags and rough handling, various bags split and spilt their contents on top of the poorly rigged tarpaulin and jumbo bags below. Once completed, the lower layer of jumbo bags containing sodium carboxymethyl cellulose were discharged. Unfortunately, the jumbo bags containing the sodium carboxymethyl cellulose were of equally poor construction, variously splitting and spilling the chemical onto the jumbo bags still on board. This resulted in a dusting and indeed a mixture of both chemicals in the holds and on top of the remaining cargo. As previously stated, the carrier did not obtain any detailed information about the chemicals on board the ship beyond the individual MSDS for each. They were unaware that the 2 chemicals can have a serious chemical reaction when exposed to one another. As the 2 chemicals reacted, orange-brown smoke was seen to emit from the mixed residue. This gas was subsequently found to be toxic. A fire began to take hold, and the vessel was forced to proceed to the anchorage. Unfortunately, the fire involved a chemical which was an oxidizer, which means that during the ongoing chemical reaction, oxygen was continually produced, which meant that closing the holds would not suffocate the fire. The fire proved very difficult to extinguish, even with the controlled use of firefighting tugs, taking several weeks under expert advice. The ship was severely delayed and sustained considerable damage to her structure, which required repair before she could go back into service. Around 1,500 metric tons of steel coils were affected by a corrosive substance, which spilled from a number of jumbo bags in the hold during discharge. The jumbo bags were stowed above the steel coils on top of a trellis structure, which broke down during the voyage. The trellis structure was unlikely to be in compliance with the provisions of the Code of Safe Practice for cargo stowage and securing. As the jumbo bags were discharged, they spilled chemical contents over the steel coils. One or more chemicals in the hold had corrosive properties. Extensive corrosion occurred to the outer packaging of the coils. Damage was fortunately limited to the outer packaging in most instances. A small number of coils were damaged internally and were sold as a salvage sale. The total exposure to the members' loss record was $350,000, but it is clear that the exposure could have been far worse. 2 chemicals were loaded in jumbo bags in this hold. The jumbo bags were of relatively poor construction. The 2 chemicals reacted with each other violently. The resultant fire was sustained by one of the chemicals being an oxidizer. The fire took a number of days to extinguish under expert advice. The ship sustained steel damage in the cargo hold and needed repair work to the satisfaction of the ship's classification society. There were claims in respect of the cargo, damage to the vessel's hull, and loss of hire. The total value of the claims exceeded $5,500,000. Ensure all cargo is stowed in accordance with the ship's Cargo Securing Manual and Code of Safe Practice for cargo stowage and securing. Chemicals offered for carriage in jumbo bags are more commonly carried at much lower risk in ISO containers. Unexpected risks can exist when chemicals come into contact with each other and are unlikely to be identified in the MSDS material safety data sheets. Triage all chemicals offered for carriage in jumbo bags when more than one commodity is carried in a hold. Use industry experts to identify unexpected risks of those chemicals. The club should be contacted to assist members in obtaining expert advice.